Are you ready?
Yeah.
Really? Anytime?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we are, in our newest edition of Big D, Little D.
All right, and today we're going to be pretty much discussing Patrick Allvin and all the trades he's made.
Yeah.
So,
Especially around the trade deadline. We haven't done a podcast since the deadline, so.
yeah, exactly. So, first of all, I think in the last one we covered the
Horvat deal pretty
deal
thoroughly, I think.
I think we're both on the same page. We
Mm-hmm.
liked it for what it was and for what
Yeah.
Horvat actually, we liked it even more when Horvat signed his 8-year
deal, exactly.
$8.5 million deal. So, I think the next deal that they made was the Will Lockwood and a 7th round pick for Kravtsov.
Kravtsov, yeah, I didn't know much about this Kravtsov, and I thought I was under the impression that he was over in Europe this year, but I guess he wasn't because he came to Vancouver right away. So
Yeah, he was for a couple of years. He was very highly renowned, and then he's just fallen out of favor in New York. And for me, I thought, you know what, Will Lockwood wasn't really going to make a difference here in Vancouver.
No.
And a 7th rounder is like
a 7th round.
a 7th rounder. So to make that deal for somebody that was a 1st rounder,
Yeah.
Has potential.
And the thing that they say about this Kravtsov is he's a guy that has to be, in your top 6. Like when it all comes down to it, he's an offensive guy, and if he doesn't score, he's not an effective guy. He's not like that Ratu, whatever his name is, that they got from the Rangers, who can play that bottom 6 and be an effective role. This guy has to be, scoring goals or putting points up.
I thought this guy at the beginning of the year, I heard other people talking about him. He was really highly sought.
Yes,
The
he
Rangers
was,
wanted a lot, and he's really fallen out of favor that they basically catered for a journeyman at best.
Yes, exactly. I think part of the reason he fell out of favor was because I know the last couple of years, rather than go to the American Hockey League, he chose to go back to Russia. Yeah. I mean, they have to let him go, but I mean, in a situation like that, do you want a guy playing in the American League who doesn't want to be there and stunt his growth, his development, or send him to Russia where he's going to get lots of ice time? So,
and from what I hear, he's done fairly well down there. He hasn't lit it up or anything like that.
But he's in Vancouver now, so.
Yeah, and I've seen him play a few games.
Yeah.
I was expecting a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
But
he's playing in the bottom line too, right now, and that's
not still. Yeah, he's had some power play time.
Yeah, he has.
And
I guess I look at it like this. Sorry for interrupting, but he's a skilled guy, and he's usually out there against the other team's 4th line, so he should be a more skilled guy against the guys he's out against.
Yeah,
and so that should mean that he gets more offensive chances.
Well, I look at it this way. I think from what I've seen in the little limited time I've seen him, he looks like what's that? Goldobin.
Yeah, a lot.
But Goldobin was more flashy.
Yeah.
And this guy seems to me to be a little bit more timid. Right now, I don't know if he's not accustomed to this team or whatever.
Yeah.
He just came over. He seems even on the power play, he wants to pass before he wants to shoot.
Yeah.
He's got a good shot. I haven't seen it.
And he did play in the World Juniors. He does know Podkolzin fairly well.
Yeah,
and maybe Podkolzin will take him under his wing.
Well, that'd be nice. I mean, but even if he doesn't pan out to be anything, I still
didn't give up anything for him.
I think it's a good deal because
Lockwood had no future in Vancouver.
There's a lot of potential still there, whether it pans out or not. I thought Allvin did a good job with that, and we'll see how he progresses. I mean, he's going to get some playing time in the next little bit, and I thought it was a good deal for the Canucks.
I thought it was good. Yeah, it was.
If we had to give a B, C, or a letter grade, I would say it's a B.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right? So,
yeah, and even if it doesn't work out, we still got a draft pick. Yeah. I know it's a 7th rounder.
We didn't get it. We gave one.
Oh, we gave a draft pick. Okay, then that's okay.
So, I mean, that's fine. The next one was they traded Stillman to Buffalo.
Yeah.
for a junior guy, Bloom or something.
Bloom, Josh Bloom, yeah. Everything I've read about Bloom is he's a decent. He's playing in the Ontario Hockey League. I guess he's a decent player. He's Corey. We give up Corey Stillman, a guy who just didn't fit in here. And the thing about what I like about that deal is they've come to the conclusion. You know what? It didn't work out with Stillman, and instead of just hanging on to him, you move him, right? And you got to give Alvin and management credit for that. You know, a lot of general managers wouldn't, they would wait too long to give up on the guy. But they realized, look, it wasn't working for whatever reason. It wasn't going to work with Stillman. He wasn't the kind of player that they thought he was, and they got rid of him.
I thought actually under Talkett, he was actually playing better.
He was, yeah.
I thought he was playing a lot better. They got something for him. He wasn't in the future here, so move him. Plus, you shed some salary, got rid of some defensemen. We got a glut of defensemen that are like all fourth or fifth or sixth.
Exactly, all the same kind.
So you got to get rid of that. You got rid of some salary, even if this guy in the never even comes up. You know, you shed some salary. You know, and you got potential again. Apparently, this guy's doing fairly well in the juniors right now. So who knows? And maybe in a couple of years we'll see. Another defenseman they got rid of, and a fan favorite, Luke Shen. To Toronto for third.
Well, you know, I think we all knew that was going to happen. It was just not if, but when. I like Shen, and my thing would be to bring him back in the summertime in a limited role, you know, but I don't. I think Shen wants that, but for everything I've heard, I don't see that happening. But again, you got a third rounder for this guy who you weren't going to re-sign. I think it was obvious. I think it's obvious now they're not going to bring him back. So, you know.
Well, they might have re-signed him. I mean,
yeah, but he was too much of an asset. They figured to hold on to.
For me, like even if you're going to re-sign him, right? He's not going to do anything for you this year.
No.
You know. Just let him go. Maybe in Toronto he improves. Maybe he has a chance at a cup. Who knows?
He's played only a couple of games for the Leafs. I don't know if he's hurt or a healthy scratch every night.
I think his wife is. About to give birth,
that's why. Yes, I forgot about that.
So that was.
I don't see him in the lineup, right? So
yeah. So the other thing is, you always to have the potential if the player wants to be here and you want to sign him, you can always do it in the off season.
Yeah, that's what I want, but I don't.
I would say they would want that at the same deal that they are getting right now, like $850,000.
Yeah.
I don't think they're willing to go. And I'm thinking if I'm Luke Shen, if I could get like $2 million from some other team,
absolutely,
you got to go with that, right? He's only got a couple of years left in the game.
Yeah.
So, I would say that. I mean, I think it's a good deal. You know, you got a third. It's not great. Toronto's doing well. It's going to be high. It's going to be a low third.
Still, it's a third round pick, right?
Everybody always says we need draft picks. You know, who knows? We could get that. I thought it was a good deal. I thought it had to be done. There's no point in keeping him around right now because right now, what are they doing? They're looking at what they have. They already know what they have.
They know what they have in Shen. So Talkett knows what he has in Shen.
Yeah, so they want to look at everybody else. So it frees up another D-man role there. They got to look at, what's his name?
Burrows more.
Burrows. They called up a few guys. Wolanin, I like.
Yeah. The guy they just signed to an extension there,
Breezebaugh. So, I thought that was a good deal. I mean, whether Breezebaugh actually gets to play here or whatever.
Breezebaugh and Wolanin, one of them would not be in the lineup if Shen was still here, right?
Yeah.
And maybe even Burrows. So.
Well, Burrows definitely wouldn't be in there, I don't think. But so that being said, I think that was a good deal. I was expecting more, but it is what it is. You you take what you can get. When you get right down to it. But the deal everybody's been talking about is the what's his name? Philip Hronek deal. So it's just like gave up a first round and a second round pick. The Islanders first round
protected pick.
Yeah, I don't think it matters about protected because I think the Islanders aren't going to finish in the bottom.
Exactly. So. Yeah. So I mean but the fans and media, there's been quite a bit of outrage about that deal, and this guy's apparently a top 2 or top 3 defenseman.
He's having a
first
career
pairing.
year.
Yeah.
He's having a career year.
Right shot.
Mobile.
Yeah. He can skate a little bit.
he can defend.
Well, yeah, that's the
So-
thing. Is he's a two-way defenseman. He's not just an offensive defenseman. This guy can play in that shutdown defensive role, and you can put him out there when you need points and when you need to, when you have the lead.
Well, for me, I like the player. I think personally, the price was a little high. First round and a second round pick for him. Seeing as Ottawa got what's his name, Chikrin for basically the same.
Yeah.
Right. So I think Chikrin's got a higher ceiling.
Yeah.
I think he's bigger, more offensive potential.
Yeah. Absolutely. And what I don't understand is there's been a lot of, again, fans and media saying, well, why would Yzerman trade this guy? Well, Yzerman traded Bertuzzi. He traded this guy. They just signed their captain to a big contract, and he had to open up some salary. And plus, we don't know who we don't know who Detroit's going to be going after in the free agency. But, it's not because he had fallen out of favor or anything, or that he's a bad player. They needed money to roster.
Well, they also have pretty good defensemen in the pipeline. So,
they do, right?
So
absolutely.
They got to make room for them to
and they got that big Moritz Seider, Mo Seider, a big German who's going to be coming up on an extension too. Yeah. And so, they had to open up salary.
For me, the player, I think it's what the Canucks need.
Absolutely.
They need a defenseman that can play defense, can be offensive.
And on the right side, especially.
On the right side as well. And that's exactly what, let's go back to the Bo Horvat trade.
Everyone was saying, why didn't they get a defenseman?
Exactly. The biggest criticism, they need a defenseman. Now you got a defenseman, now everyone's, you gave up too much. If he had come in the Bo Horvat trade, everybody would be like, oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
But
judge the guy on the player that he is, not what he was, and apparently he's a good player. Like from every,
So let's go back to the Bo Horvat trade. Let's say it was Bo Horvat and a second round pick for Beauvillier, Ratu, and Roenick or whatever his name is. Right? I think everybody would be happy.
Ecstatic. Yeah,
exactly.
And especially to have Roenick on your team.
Yeah, so it's basically the same thing.
It is, absolutely.
So it basically cost you a second round pick.
Yep. Yeah. Right? When you look at it, I hadn't looked at it that way, Peter, but that's very true.
So a guy like him for a second round pick, I think it's a great deal. Mm-hmm. I hear on other people like Donnie and what's his name, Dollywall, and they're saying, oh, well, he's going to ask for a king's ransom when his deal's done in 2 years or what have you, and this. I'm like, well, everyone's going to ask for a king's ransom.
Yeah, and you deal with that then. You don't worry about...
You think Pettersson's not going to ask for
You don't worry about that now. There seems to be so many people concerned, well, you got to... like
You could always trade them.
Yes, and you deal with those when they come. You don't look at that now, right? That's too far. It's too far down the line. Hockey's a now game. It's what have you done for me lately, not what are you going to do for me in 2 years.
The other thing is just stepping back from this is if he ever plays, he's injured. First of all, this is one thing I never understood is like if the guy is injured, I thought you couldn't trade him.
Yeah, I was under the same.
Right?
Yeah.
So
it used to be like that.
Yeah, and remember when what's his name, Miller was hurt before the trade deadline. Oh, you can't trade him. This I'm like. Yeah, but they just traded for a guy that's injured.
Exactly, yeah.
So, I don't know.
Unless the Canucks had to agree, they knew he was injured and were still willing to make that trade. Maybe some teams aren't.
But you don't know his medical
you don't
record.
No.
So, let's say this guy, his shoulder's blown out. It can never be fixed. Is there any remedy for this? Yeah. I have no idea.
No one's ever. It's never been brought up.
If anybody knows, leave a comment down in the comments and let us know.
I haven't heard anything anywhere in any of the
My thing was I've always been told that if a person's injured during the thing, you can't trade them.
You can't trade them.
Yeah, it's just like what's his name, OEL was hurt, you couldn't trade him. Even if you couldn't trade him anyway. But having said that,
I think this guy got hurt he got hit pretty good in a game. I think it was against Minnesota, and then I think he dropped the glove. Did he drop the gloves with Reeves or somebody?
No. He
dropped the
he
gloves
got
with
he got smoked by
hit by
Reeves.
Reeves, and then
But
he
that
dropped,
was like way. That's when he was with Minnesota, way back in the
okay.
day. So.
Who did he dropped the gloves with somebody earlier?
He
this
was
year.
in Ottawa this year
yeah,
that he
yeah,
got
yeah,
hurt.
yeah,
So
yeah.
just like a couple games before
Yeah.
they traded for him. So, you know, I still think if he heals up, he's going to be perfect. What the Canucks are
And a perfect partner for Hughes, a right hand shot who's a two, as I said, who's good in his own end.
I could see that. I think you put him on the second pair.
I know.
You spread it
Yeah,
out a bit.
I know.
He's a good puck
Yes.
mover.
Yeah, no,
wanna spread it out.
absolutely, yeah. And as I said, he's not just a one way defenseman. This guy can play the game in his own end of the ice, and he's such a good skater and moving the puck like Hughes that if he gets in trouble, he's able to get out of it.
My only thing is he's having a career year. Is it going to continue?
Yeah, well,
next
just
year?
like Bo's having a career year,
Yeah,
right?
he is.
Will that ever happen again? So
Yeah, that's my only thing with that. But still, he's defensively, from what I hear, he's pretty good.
he's
so
probably better than defensively than I think a lot of people. Before I really knew anything about him, I kind of just figured this guy was an offensive defenseman. Then the more I studied up on him, the more I heard about him, that he's actually a better, much better defensively than I think a lot of people. Now he's out here. It's because he was in Detroit, right?
Yeah.
But the people in Detroit, the media, and that they're saying like this guy was a good
But
defender.
who was he playing with?
I'm not sure who he was playing with.
So, like,
Yeah.
if he's playing with the German,
Yeah.
he might have to play a
Yeah,
defensive role.
but apparently he's like they're saying he's a good two-way. You know, he's good in his own end of the ice.
Okay, let's move on to Lazar to New Jersey for a draft pick. I think, what was it, fourth round?
Yeah, third or fourth.
Third or
Again,
fourth.
another guy who's injured but was traded.
Yeah. So,
But again, that comes back to the fact, like
actually, they took him off injured reserve before
Yes.
the thing. So he wasn't-
it comes down a lot to the same thing with the Stillman is they acquired a guy in the off season. He didn't work out. He just whatever reason he even said that he didn't work out. You know that he wanted. I always thought that he was a better player than what he showed in Vancouver. Maybe he is for whatever reason it didn't work out. And instead of holding on to him for another 2 years, they moved him and got what they could got something for him.
Exactly, because the bottom four or bottom six, you could always replace those.
Oh yeah,
guys, right?
and
So
this guy he wasn't.
it just didn't work out.
No,
That's it.
yeah.
I mean, maybe under Take it would have worked out better.
But whatever it was, it just didn't work. And again, I give Alvin credit because he didn't just hang. He basically admitted, look, this was by moving him. That's admittance that you know what, it was a mistake, and we'll just we'll move this guy rather. So many teams though would hang on to a guy like that.
Well, for me, I'm gonna just change the subject a little bit, but it's basically the same thing. It said how I was reading an article in The Athletic, and they rated all the teams and how they did, and the Canucks rating was a 2 out of 10
On the trade deadline?
On the trade deadline, all the moves before the trade deadline, and it was done by your buddy Drance.
Well, that says it all right
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
No wonder. I'm surprised he gave him a 2 and the way Drance.
Because he was like, I heard him talk before the Roenick trade.
Yeah.
He was all positive, yeah, and then he just like,
He doesn't like that.
Yeah, he does not like. They don't not following his belief system.
Yes, exactly.
So basically, me personally, I think Alvin has done a very good job.
Oh yeah.
He's done what he said he was going to do.
Well, that's the thing. He's followed through on what he said he was going to do.
Yeah. So he's also in the just after trade deadline, he signed a few players, defensemen, the McDonough guy. They just signed. So
7th round pick.
Yeah. So, but he's playing great. So it's just like.
And then, as I said, they re-signed Brisebois to a 2-year. The first year is a 2-way deal, and I believe the second year is a one-way deal.
Yeah.
And did they re-sign Di Giuseppe as well, didn't
Giuseppe.
they? Same thing. The first year, I think in Di Giuseppe, same thing. First year is a 2, or is it both a one-way?
No, I think it's the
same as Brisebois. First year is a 2-way deal.
I'm not sure about that.
But I know with Brisebois, I think the first year is a 2-way deal, and I believe the second year is a.
I think
Di Giuseppe
or whatever his name is. I'm having trouble. I'm turning into Dollywall. So anyway, him. He's the guy
Lamar
that
Dollywall.
he takes the place of Will Lockwood.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
he's
so
a fourth line guy, third, fourth line guy.
He's
Go
got
up and down his
a lot
wing.
of energy.
He skates well. He has energy, and he goes up and down his wing.
Yeah.
He plays that north-south game, which the Canucks want to make that the style that they play, and he plays that way.
Is there anything in the trade deadline that shocked you? No, not just the Canucks. But
Yeah, I thought there were some guys that would have got moved that didn't. I think I look at the Edmonton move, picking up who did they pick up? A Swedish defenseman there from Nashville.
Oh yeah, Ekholm.
Ekholm. They traded away the guy I like.
Puljujärvi.
Yeah, well, but for Ekholm, they traded away Barry.
Barry,
I was surprised. I didn't see that deal coming.
I think his defensively is way better.
Oh, he's way better.
Yeah,
that's a good deal for Edmonton. He's what they needed.
Yeah.
You know, they still don't have the goaltending, but they needed that on the back end. I was surprised with Carolina not doing very much.
Yeah.
There was a team that all the teams around, the contending teams around them, got significantly better. Yeah. And they only made one significant deal picking up Puljujärvi.
Well, significant. I don't know.
No, I know.
He's a project.
Yeah, no, I know. But I mean, that's being kind by saying significant. But yeah, I really expected them to make a lot of deals. And Don Waddell is a general manager in the past who's done that.
Yeah.
Whatever reason, I guess they're happy with their team, but they're a good team. But I figured when you're going to be going up against Jersey, and you got Tampa, and you got Toronto, and you got Boston, and the Rangers are going to make a pretty good team, right? All those teams made significant changes, and Carolina didn't.
The one thing I want to say, the one I texted you on it, the Tampa for what's his name, Tanner Jeannot. I'm like, what the hell was that? Yeah. I was just like, are you
I know.
out of your mind?
Yeah. He's a third liner. Don't get me wrong. He's one of the best third liners in the game.
Yeah,
but to give up that much for a third liner.
They gave up a first, a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth, and the foot kid. I mean,
for Tanner Jeannot.
And I'm like, are you? I know they're in different years, but still.
Yeah.
6 for one?
For one. And I said, Jeannot's a good player.
I mean.
But he's a third liner.
And I can't see him being the missing piece in Tampa. Tampa's got a couple issues.
Well, what gets me is they already have guys who play that same way he does. Yeah. So he's not a guy. He's not something that your team was lacking. Physicality.
I just don't know. That's why I was when I texted you and I'm like, is this April Fool's?
Yeah,
what is going on here?
What he brings, that skill set, wasn't what Tampa's lacking. That's what gets me, right? Like,
I literally checked, before I texted you, I literally checked down this
to see if it's real.
Yeah, I thought this is one of those fake
accounts,
things, And then I looked, and this guy's talking. Then I actually see it on TV. Yeah. I'm like, wow, what is going on there?
I know.
Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to say was the Rangers getting Patrick Kane, and then
before that they got what's his name, Tarasenko
there. They're going all in, and I don't even think they're close.
No.
Me personally,
they're a good team, but I don't think they're a Stanley Cup contender. They'd have to really get on a good run and hope that some of the other better teams are knocked out.
I don't think they could take on Carolina.
No.
I mean, I think they would have.
Gallant is a good coach. He, don't get me wrong, but and he's had success. But
if they go up against Pittsburgh, I think you see them having a few problems with Pittsburgh.
Well, Pittsburgh was a team that didn't.
Islanders would give them problems as well
right now,
if they make it. It's like all those. I'm like.
Another team that surprised me was Minnesota. I expected Minnesota.
Yeah, they got salary issues next year, and they couldn't do much.
Yeah.
So they're gonna shed a lot of salary in the offseason.
I guess they moved Niederreiter's the only guy that they really did, right?
And I think that helps Winnipeg.
It does, But no, I kind of expected them to do more. But as you said, they're in salary cap issues.
Okay, let's get back to the Canucks. That's what we're supposed to be talking about. The coach, Tocchet. I'm the first one to say I did not think he should have been the coach. I thought they should have just put the interim coach in or whatever, the backup Mike Yeo or whatever his name was in there, and just I guess they know better than I am, better than I do. So I'm pleasantly surprised.
That's exactly what
I did not think he was gonna be.
That's exactly what I said. Remember, I said
Yeah.
I didn't think he was the right fit for this team.
I still think they should have done an
better,
exhaustive
yes.
search, but it just seemed like they had their
yes,
guy. And,
but I have to give credit where credit's due.
Yeah,
he's been a better coach and had a better impact on this team than I thought he would.
My thing is they're actually doing what they said they were gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
They got structure. They wanted structure. They wanted the defensively to get better.
Yeah.
It's the same players.
Yeah, it is.
Mind you, they're bringing up a lot of the guys from the farm.
Because he wants to see them, right?
The farm guys are playing better than
And again, we talked about this before. The guys who picked it up under Tocchet. Little Garland, he's been great, really great under Tocchet.
Yeah.
And as has Dakota Joshua.
Yeah.
I think he's near double digits in goals now, Joshua.
And I think I said last time Myers, then he went up and had a stinker of a game after I said it.
Yeah.
I still think he's playing better.
He is, but
he's not getting exposed as much.
No.
The only reason I mention it is because that great hit on Tavares.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
Yeah. Other than that, I can't really tell you what he did.
No.
So,
I don't.
But he hasn't done that many glaring issues.
No, he's had one bad game under Tocchet where he was really exposed.
Yeah.
And had a minus that, as they say now. The kids say now he was a -4.
-4. All right. I mean, I think Tocchet and his staff have been doing a good job, but then again, they're playing weaker teams as well.
Mm-hmm.
That was the big thing when Boudreau was let go. I didn't have a problem with Boudreau being let go. The way they did it, I have a problem with.
And when they did it.
Well, I don't care about when they did it, but the way they handled it beforehand, they just basically told the world, "Oh yeah, this," and they were just bad mouthing them.
They say.
Yeah, they're bad mouthing them
publicly.
Yeah, the president coming out and saying all this stuff. Alvin didn't say much except for that they have no structure. They're not playing defense. They're and he's consistent. He's said that's the biggest issue that they had with them.
And accountability.
Yeah, so I gotta say that it looks like they.
Right now, it looks like they know it, and that they made the right move.
We'll see what happens come, what is it called? What is it? January 1st is the...
July 1st. I believe
July 1st?
I believe it's back to July 1st.
July 1st.
I think so. The last couple of years with everything that's been going on, it's been a different day, different calendar
Free
day.
agency.
But it's generally always been July 1st.
Well, we'll see what happens at the draft as well. They could make some deals. They could...
Generally... the past few years, maybe the past 3 or 4, maybe longer, some of the bigger deals have been made at the draft.
Well, let's hope that they can make a deal. Maybe move Besser.
Yeah.
The only thing I want to say, and now that you reminded me, remember we were talking about everybody's shitting on Miller.
Mm-hmm.
How do they feel about him now?
Oh, those same people who are shitting on him now are like, he's been their best player like a lot of nights.
And what have we been saying?
Yeah.
He's the same guy he's always been.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
You just got to calm him down.
Yes, and use and calm him down, and I think right there, Tocchet's been great for him.
Well, I think he also knows that that shit's not going to fly with him.
No, exactly.
Right? So doesn't want to be embarrassed. He's got a $8 million contract kicking in next year.
And he's a prideful guy, right? He plays hard.
Yeah.
He wants to, he's a guy who wants it, right?
I still don't think he's captain material.
No, so, I don't either. But he's a guy who plays hard and wants it. And another thing that I always had to say about this, especially with what we saw last year with Calgary, Calgary ended up losing both Johnny Gaudreau and Tkachuk, Americans who wanted to go back to the States. Where Miller's an American, and he signed a long-term deal in Canada. Yeah. That says something.
Yeah, that does. I mean,
because if he would have went for free agency, he probably would have got close to the same dollars.
My thing is with him and everybody here is it's not a rebuild; it's a retool. Yeah. We all knew that,
and that's why they weren't.
And I have no problem. Yeah. I have no problem. Seeing how this, turns into early next year, right? And if there's some issues, you could still make moves, right? Oh, yeah. And I still think they want to keep a Miller.
Yeah.
They probably want to move on from Besser, but, they got Hoglander in the minors. They want to give him another chance up here. See how this
You got those
Kravtsov guy.
Russians. You got some other Russians. Another Russian there, Mikheyev is out. Right
Yeah.
we forget about that guy. That guy's a top 6, top 9, and he's injured right for the
Yeah,
rest of the year.
I always thought he was like they said he was top 6 here, but I was
Yeah.
like he's a a third liner.
Yeah, penalty kill.
Yeah, penalty kill. Get him doing what he does. Maybe get his 20 goals a year
Yeah.
on the third line. That you can't ask for more
No,
from a third
no.
liner. So yeah, we'll see how it pans out. But I think Alvin's done a good job.
Yeah.
And as much as they've been maligned and all this stuff, I thought last year they just took a wait and see attitude.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly thought they should have moved on from Miller last year
Yeah.
because they weren't going anywhere, but they held on to him. I guess they know a little bit more than we do about these sort of things. So I'm happy, and the mostly I'm happy because Rutherford's not talking.
Rutherford's staying out of it.
Exactly.
I think he's even not talking. I think he's actually letting Alvin do his job and manage the hockey
Exactly,
team.
because Alvin wasn't doing anything till Rutherford said he's going to stop talking
And step aside.
and then step aside, and he actually seems like he's done.
You know.
Whether he's chirping in Alvin's ear or not,
Yes,
we don't know.
We don't know.
But it seems to be working
exactly
right now.
whatever it is, and let Alvin do what he was hired to do, be the general manager.
And just on the point of defensemen, and people like we're getting rid of these first round picks, and we could have got a defenseman. Defensemen take a long time to mature.
Exactly. And this Hronek is already an NHL defenseman.
Yeah, and plus he's already signed like a couple of free agents.
Yeah.
That are defensemen.
Yeah.
So they're a little older.
Yeah.
They're a little further down the progression.
And that's the thing. When you look at a draft pick, these guys now are, and I'm talking now being this generation of players that are coming up in this year and next year. Those guys are 5 years away from even, right? So you get a defenseman who's a legitimate, top 4 NHL defenseman. It's not like you're waiting to see, like it's on these draft picks. So
see, unlike what Benning and those the other regime was doing, they were getting like defensemen that are bottom 6 pairings, right?
Yeah.
And give him $2-3 million. You could just get those guys from the farm.
Oh yeah.
For rental.
Like as I said, we brought up a couple of those guys in Wolan and then Breezeball.
Yeah, exactly. And they were paying him like $2.5 million, $3 million, whatever it is.
Those guys are getting $800,000.
That's money wasted.
$775,000 to $800,000.
Exactly. $1 million max, right?
Yeah.
For the third, for the fourth, fifth and sixth defenseman, seventh defenseman. You don't need to. What you need to do is get better top end defensemen.
Yes. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we've got a lot of salary still on defense with Myers.
Myers and Ekman Larson.
And I think they both got to be bought out. I don't know
what
about
I
Myers.
had heard about Myers being bought, and our good buddy Mr. Rick Dollywall mentioned this, and I didn't understand it, so I contacted him on social media. The fact is with Myers is he gets a $500,000 bonus July 1st, I believe it is. And so to buy him out, Dollywall says they'd be better off to send him. They'd be saving more money by sending him down to Abbotsford than they would by buying him out, because the salary is, his actual AAV is lower because of the $500,000 bonus, which doesn't count against.
Well, whatever. I mean, if he plays better, you might be able to swing a
deal.
Yeah, where you
and
eat some salary.
Yes, and what teams want is they want that $500,000 bonus, the Canucks to pay that, and then maybe make a deal for
him. Maybe. I mean, the big thing is Ekman Larson. I said that a long time ago. He's got to be bought out.
Yeah.
I like the guy, but he's not worth the salary that he is. I mean, he's had better days. He's not that offensive. I mean, he could step into an offensive role when Hughes is out, and he does well.
He's only 30 years old, but his best days are behind him. I guess because he played so many minutes and he was young in Arizona, and now we're seeing the.
So I'm thinking if the Canucks, ownership does buy out Ekman Larson,
I
right?
think that's possible.
I think that's what is it? How many is it? $8 million?
Yes.
Off the cap there. I know they don't want to, but it's like you put up a better team, you get a little faster towards your goals of being a cup contender. So And make no mistake, I'm not thinking they're going to be a cup contender
No.
next year. I'm hoping that they're contending for a
playoff wild card. One thing that we haven't mentioned is the return of Thatcher Demko. I thought Thatcher's been really good since he returned from injury.
I think he has.
I think it actually did him well, just for the fact nothing physical. I think just the mental side of his game. He was allowed to work on that part of his game because he got off to such a poor start, and a lot of it was in his head. And now he's been able to work through some of that. And I think that, looking back, we may say that was the best thing that happened to him this year.
I think he's been better. I don't know if he's bubble Demko yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, but
he is better than first month of the year Demko.
This is another thing in the Ottawa game, which they won 5-2.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was laboring a little bit.
He almost looked like he was
looked
hurt.
like he pulled his groin
Yeah,
again.
and there was one time when he got up slowly.
Yeah.
And I believe that Garrett and Shorthouse even mentioned it. And then I saw him going to the bench really slowly. I thought, okay,
he's pulling himself out.
Then I found out it was a TV timeout. But it was just, usually they don't show that at TV timeout. Like the guys.
That's what I thought. I seen the same moment.
And I thought, oh man, he's injured. He's going to the bench. And then they said we're going to a TV timeout. Yeah. But initially I thought, because he did look like he tweet something.
Exactly. So I would still, I'm pro Tank, by the way. Yeah. So I still would not play him as much as they're playing him.
And I have to be honest, that Latvian there, Silovs, has played much better than I ever expected him to.
I think he has to go back to Abbotsford.
No, he does. He's not a backup in the NHL.
Because they might have might be contending in Abbotsford. Yeah. I'm not sure what they're doing in Abbotsford.
And I figure, they figure they're going to have to go out and get a backup. I would, if you can bring back Delia, can be a good backup.
Yeah.
At a good price, reasonable. Delia can be a good backup at a cheaper price than you're going to pay for a free agent backup.
No, you still got Martin on the Bucks for I don't know how much he's getting, so might as well use him.
Yeah.
Might as well use him. You're paying him. I'd say is Seeloffs or
Seeloffs, yeah.
Yeah, if he's going to be the guy in what is it called, Abbotsford,
which he should be
for next year.
Yeah.
Then bring what's the name back, Martin back. Get him into just playing every fifth game.
Like he was good in that role. Yeah. It was until Demko got hurt.
Exactly. So I think they also got exposed him. Teams found out his weaknesses.
And I think teams knew that he was hurting too. I think he was hurting before he got hurt.
Well, I'm talking about
Martin.
Martin.
Oh yes.
The more he played, he overshot things. He, you went down too fast. He got over the shoulders, pulled away from the side. There's certain things where you look at some goals, and then you're like, how could that?
We say they're little things, but they all add up, and those little things equal to big. And that's either I look at the position as like the guys who are at that elite level. Do all those little. If you beat them, you got to beat them clean. You're not going to get it. You might get one or two by them that you shouldn't, but for the most part, they make those routine saves that they have to make.
For all the coaches that we've heard about this year, have you heard about the goaltending coach?
No,
I
mentioned early in the season about gel in his hair.
Yeah, I know. Except for you and his gel hair. I mean, I haven't heard anything about Ian Clark.
No, which is a good thing.
Is it? I like it. Shouldn't he? Because they were struggling so bad in
goal. And they do love him though. That's the thing.
So if he's the goalie guru that they claim he is,
that's a good point.
He should have been able to coach up some of
these
guys
to work out some of these. Make Delia and or Martin.
I thought Delia played well. For what he is, I thought he should have been able to coach up Martin a little bit.
Because Delia is a veteran. Delia's played more games in the NHL than Martin has.
That's the other point there. I mean, with this, hopefully they don't play Demko as much. Give Delia a shot. Maybe even bring Martin back up for a little bit to get his confidence.
Yeah.
The games don't mean much. I mean, it's good to win and it's good to score goals and shorthanded goals and all that stuff. But take a look at everybody. You know what you got in Patrick Demko.
There's
Pat Thatcher.
There's that base that we know what they have. Now there's guys that Talkett needs to see more out of, and this is the time to do it. This is the time to run with those guys.
Yeah.
Give them a solid,
I think they are.
solid, but give some of these guys a solid 2 to 3 weeks of regular action. Maybe longer, but what I'm saying is you can't just try them in 1 or 2 games and it's not working. You got to give these guys a month or 3 weeks.
Let's go down the fourth liners, right? You got what's his name, Amon.
Yeah.
Right.
Apparently they're liking what he's doing.
I like what he's doing as well. You got what's his name, the
Dries.
No, he's a third liner right now. So you got
Giuseppe. No, he's on the.
Giuseppe's goes up and down.
Yeah.
The other guy, the fighter guy,
Joseph.
You got Joseph there.
Joseph's been playing better than I thought he was.
Yeah, so he is giving all these guys good luck.
Oh yeah,
right?
He is exactly.
And with Kravtsov, I'm still a little, we'll
find out.
Yeah, we'll see what he. I think he needs more confidence to just
I would send him down to Abbotsford to get. And then bring him back at the end of the year.
I don't think they want to because that was the big issue back with the Rangers, right?
Yeah.
I would think.
But if you tell him he's going to go down and then he'll be back, right?
No. I would say, hey, we need you down there because then you could play games.
You'll be on the first line.
Yeah. Also, you could play games in their whatever thing they have in the AHL. Whatever the
playoffs, Calder Cup.
Yeah. So whatever that is. So. Get there, but I know they don't want to, do that because he'll be in the same boat. He might get hissy fit and take off to
Russia.
Yeah, Russia again. So I mean, I see the potential there. I just don't see him. I think he's just a little timid right now. So
and confidence is a big part of anyone's game. But and also being a Russian, it's a different being a Russian in New York and being a Russian in Vancouver. That being said, the Canucks do have a few Russian players on the roster, so that will help.
Yeah. I think we exhausted everything this week. So
I think
All right, so Lika.
Leave a message or a comment and
subscribe
and hit that like button.
And if we screw up something, put it in the comments so we can
let us know, right?
Except for the Patrick Demko, I did that on purpose. All right.